Hey, it's Luke, warehouse manager here, and just got in. We thought we were getting a shipment from Japan, and it turned out we were getting 800 Lucas racks. So that was a little bit of a surprise. Anyway, I'm here to talk about a couple products we've been kind of kicking around, and Jim and I were trying to figure out, do people want these? Are these things that people are interested in? And there are two. So the first, it's kind of it let me just tell you about it. So I'm gonna have an image pop up over here. Uh, they're pulley wheels. They're oversized and they go on your rear derailleur. And there are some that are made now, but they use ceramic bearings, and the cost of them is just ungodly. And so we were thinking, okay, how can we take this product that has a lot of promise, make it better and easier to work with and service, and also more readily available? And so we did is rather than having ceramic bearings, you have more standard bearings, still high quality, CNC'd. They're going to be anodized black. They're not going to be silver. And what they do is they allow you to have greater chain wrap, even with a short or medium cage rear derailleur. So, for example, I'm running a sample right now on one of my bikes, and I'm running a 9-speed cassette, 9-speed rear derailleur, 9-speed chain, and I can actually get a larger cog in the back, and I also have greater chain wrap. So what chain wrap means is, let's say you have a 38 tooth chain wrap. That means that the difference between the largest and the smallest chain rings in the front and the largest and smallest cogs in the back, take that difference. So let's say it's 24 and 14, you add it together, you get 38. And so this allows my current rear derailleur on that bike, which is a late 90s XTR, to actually exceed the chain wrap limit. It also allows it to exceed the maximum cog size. So I'm running an 11 to 40 or 42. It's important to know this, but 11 to 40? Yeah, an 11 to 40 on my bike. And then I'm running a 40-24 up front, which definitely exceeds what that XTR rear derailleur can do. So it's really cool. It doesn't take too much know-how. It's mostly meant for more contemporary Shimano 11-speed, but again, I'm running it with 9-speed. I do a lot of things mechanically that they're sound. They're not like, but I wouldn't always recommend to people because how it turns out is, as it is, it turned out really well and it shifts really nice. It's on friction, so that always helps. But these pulley wheels are meant primarily for 11-speed and 11-speed Shimano. So think Ultegra, Dura Ace 105, so that you can get a greater wrap, you can get a greater capacity, have more range. So really, I think of it as you'll have even better climbing gears on the bike you already have. And then the next thing, which I have now up on the screen, hopefully the editor did a good job. I'm the editor, so I don't know. It's a crankset. And so it's going to be a triple. And the big thing is we want it to be 94 BCD and 58 BCD. And then we want it to be in lengths of 155, 160, 165, 170, and 175. So no kind of in-betweens, no 172.5, stuff like that. But we think that this really kind of covers the bases while still allowing for a relatively short crank length and relatively long. So, my wife would probably have a 155 or 160, and I have a 175. And so and she's 5'3", so maybe 155, kind of depends. She has slightly longer legs. The big point of having this crank set is range. Just like with the oversized pulley wheels, it's range, just in a different way. So this will allow for a 20-tooth inner chainring. And we're still going to allow you to have kind of a high end on it. It's going to be 46, 36, 20. And so let's say you're running, again, I'll just stick with 9-speed because that's what I'm running on everything right now. But let's say you're running, gosh, an 11 to 46 in the rear, 9-speed, which you can get. They're fun, and you're running it, friction or whatever. Got the 11 to 46, and then you've got that 46, 36, 20 up front. There's nothing you can't climb up with that 20 tooth. It's just the range is insane. And I know a lot of folks are going one by right now. Even, obviously the last couple years, road cycling has had a massive upheaval with going to, aero one by chain rings, which I think look sick, by the way. But a triple front derailleurs are one more derailleur to set up. Obviously, they needn't be overly complicated, and it can add a lot of range to a bike so that you're not kind of hindered. Like, for example, the bike behind me, I have a 40 11 to 50 on it, and I said I have it set up as a 1x9. So here I am espousing the values of a triple, but I'm running a 1x. But there are limitations. When I was running a triple on this bike and a 44 tooth outer chainring, I had a higher top end. When I was running a 46, I had a higher top end. And I also had a 22 tooth inner chainring. So I had a massive range. Now, admittedly, at the time, I was running an 11 at a 34 7-speed because I like kind of limiting myself. And I already had an insane grainy gear. But it meant that I had a higher top end and a lower low end. It meant that I could climb even more and I could go even faster. For what it's worth, 2.25-inch knobbies on pavement, not the fastest thing, but I felt fast. And that's what that triple allowed me to do. So, again, I mentioned the pulley wheels, I'm mentioning this. It's all just to get greater range and capacity, and to continue to encourage folks to try out triples and doubles and not just run a 1x, especially because 1xs are immensely inefficient. And what I mean by that is the cross chaining that necessarily has to happen. So even with an optimal chain line, there's going to be added friction with the chain, which means greater wear. So you can run a triple, you can run a double, and then you can have more optimal chain lines with less friction with your chain. So again, I like running it all. I'm not pro one way or pro the other. I just like folks having options. And so we want to see if these options are ones people might want. And depending on what you have to say, we'll bring these to market. So anyway, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Again, this is really just, do you want this? If you don't, okay. And we'll take it from there accordingly. Tooling is not inexpensive. So we want to be circumspect and make a measured decision here. Look forward to hearing what you have to say. Thanks.